Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, very atypical, I guess maybe throwback video, BGS graded Pokemon card return. For anyone who doesn't know, if you opt to not get subgrades on your BGS cards, which I don't, you get them for free, assuming you get a 10. You get a 10 pristine, it means 3 10s, 1 9.5 subgrade, and if you get 4 10s, it's a black label. You cannot distinguish on your packing list that they send you when they ship your return back to you which ones are perfect black labels. I was going to say perfect 10s, black label 10s, and which ones are pristine 10s. Unless you click individually into each cert number, which nobody's got time for that. So very rarely am I surprised when I open a graded card return. That's part of why I don't show it anymore. A lot of them are just fairly boring, same cards over and over. These will be Nagabas, these will be 001 SVPs, but I figured that this one might be worthwhile. We'll see what kind of a black label rate we get, and let's crack right into it. I left them as I received them. Do I have my knife handy? I do. So yeah, you get kind of this shrink wrapped mess of stuff. This is the way they send them back. The shrink wrap is black, so is that a good sign or not? Remains to be seen. Look at that. I separated the stack randomly at a random point, and it just so happened to be a black label. Maybe that's also a sign of things to come. Got a stack right here that I have to separate on a 9.5. We hope we don't see too many of those. But yeah, let's get right into it. I have 2 returns here. You are seeing 2 black things here. This is both one return, and then there's another return right behind it. It might be kind of a longer video, but I'm going to try to rapid fire as best I can and go through all these. So I'm going to make just like a black label pile. I'll try to quickly just do 10s, 9.5s, black labels, and then we'll compare our stack heights at the end. As of right now, black label is my shortest stack. Probably will remain my shortest stack if I had to guess, but we'll see how tall we can make it. As of right now, I don't know if I was off screen that whole time. If I was, I apologize. You can tell I'm not set up to do these. Oof, we hope we don't get too many of those silver labels. And I did not realize I had some Celebration Charizards in here. You'll find those things everywhere. 9.5 is getting taller than you like to see. Let's see if we can have a couple hot stacks bring us back, though. I will link the video above where oh, look at this stretch. I don't know if they clump them together. Actually, I'm not paying attention. So these certs are not consecutive. So they maybe do kind of clump them together. I don't know what their process looks like internally on their end. But like that ends in 3-4, that ends in 9-9. So these 2 cards are 35 positions away from each other. My black label 10 pile just surpassed my 10 pristine pile. 9.5 is still the highest. But yeah, very interesting to see that they do not retain the order that you submit them in, just as PSA doesn't either. CGC, I'm not even entirely sure. I feel like they do more, keep them in order. But anyways, we'll continue on. Yeah, I will link the video. I started to say I will link the video where I talk about black labels being harder to grade. And maybe once we're done, oof, look at this stack. Look at this stack. Once we're done going through all the black labels, maybe we'll actually take a look at the pop reports. Maybe I'll turn this into a deeper video. Maybe it'll have to be a 2-part video. But I can actually go through and I can show here's what the recent pricing is. Here's what the pop reports show, the grading difficulty of each. And I know a lot of people, and I've actually mentioned this myself, but when you compare one company's pop report to another's, you never fully know if you're comparing apples to apples. I think generally speaking, and this will vary person to person, but cards like these, mass-produced, ultra-modern, very easy to obtain cards, are the most likely to serve you an apples to apples comparison. Just because I literally had thousands of these at one point. I sent several hundred to 1,000 plus to each PGS, getting mixed up in this alphabet soup. I've sent several hundred to 1,000 plus each to PSA, BGS, CGC. You love to see the black label atop the stack. And in doing so, I've graded a significant amount in each. Generally speaking, and I know some people have difference of opinion. I mean, I'm one person, maybe different people interact different ways. I'm gonna start secondary stacks for some of these cards. But me personally, I send my best cards to Beckett. If we do review the Black Label rates, they grade significantly lower 10 rates. And that's with me sending my better stuff there. So, I mean, other people might send their best stuff to PSA, other people might send their best stuff to CGC. Me, the Black Label being there, the Black Label being hard to obtain, that's always been where I've sent my best cards. And centering. Centering is the biggest thing that, like, if I'm optimizing which card to send to who, the worst centering cards I send to PSA. Honestly, out of all three, PSA grades the easiest. Participation trophy on certain cards. On a card with such high print quality as this, on a card that gets, I believe a lot of these cards have 10% Black Label rates roughly. That, I mean, 80-90% PSA 10 rates, that is in the territory of what I would call a participation trophy card. And I'm sending, this is what makes it so drastic, in my opinion. I send my worst condition Nagabas to PSA, and I get 80 plus, 90 plus % 10 rates. I send my best condition cards. The stacks are getting so tall you can't see what the grades are anymore. I send my worst cards to the PSA and get an 80% 10 rate plus. And I send my best condition cards to BGS, and I get, well, on average, people get a 10% Black Label rate. I've not run the numbers yet because I don't have all the cards sorted yet. But I do believe that I have fairly highly, substantially above a 10% Black Label rate in this submission. I'm probably going to have to throw all these in a shoebox at some point soon before I go into the next submission. But yeah, only a couple. You don't love to see them, but that Silver Label 9. I do have a couple Silver Label 9s in there. I think I had one random 7. Because I did look at all the numeric grades. I just couldn't tell the difference between Black Labels and pristine 10s. But yeah, as of right now, we're almost done with the submission. It looks like 9.5s take the cake. They win. Kind of narrowly, though. Pristine 10 are right behind it, and then Black Labels are not too far behind. So if I had to guess off what I'm seeing here, I would guess maybe 40% BGS 9.5, 30% Pristine 10, 20% Black Label, and 10% other. That's probably not quite right. You probably have to add some more to the 9.5, but very, very rough estimate there. That is submission 1. I'm going to pause. I'm going to get all this stuff out of my way, and we're going to go right into submission 2. So if I remember correctly, the one that I just opened should have been the vast majority of my Nagabas. I think this second one will be mostly 001 SVPs, which that card, couple $100 BGS Black Label 10. It's come down fairly significantly because a lot of people have been grading them. But I think a lot of the Nagabas are still double-digit Black Labels. Some of them fairly low double-digit Black Labels. Whereas this one, I want to say there's thousands of Black Labels at this point. We'll see how I pan out here. So there is a Nagaba that got the Black Label. I am recording this on October 30th, day before Halloween. I actually just earlier today had my video go live about there's a plane 9. I had my video go live that was about Collecticon and what I'm bringing to it. I unfortunately did not have these in hand. There's the dreaded Black Label where the label fell out of it. I was able to smack that one back in. Let me try to keep the 001 SVPs away from the Nagabas. But yeah, I will have this inventory with me at Collecticon in Houston. I unfortunately did not have it in time to show it off for the video, but I do have it now, which is great. And I don't know. You might be seeing this on what would it be, November 6th or so. I might release this as a standalone video. I might just kind of sit on it for some time. I might wait to see how the 10s sell. It'll be interesting. Pop reports are there, so it's not like, theoretically, it shouldn't harm the market for someone to see all these Black Labels at once. But I think that is one. I actually get messages sometimes. I have some close friends who at times are like, you share way too much. You share too much of the sauce. You hurt your own plays. You make competition for yourself. It's all valid. It's just the extent. How much of an extent does it hurt? Me showing potentially 20-25% of the Black Label Pop Report for some of these cards in one submission, that could have some effect. I mean, if there were a potential buyer that was going to be buying these at the $500 price points that they're currently going for, Umbreon, I think the last one was $1,000. They might have a little hesitation if they see someone grading so many all at once. That said, I don't know yet what I'm going to do. Maybe you're watching this on November 6th. Let me double check the date. Maybe you're watching this on November 6th, the day that I get back, or yeah, the first day back from Collecticon essentially. But maybe you're watching this like a year later. Maybe this is me talking about it in retrospect, in hindsight. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what the date is, if I hid this from you or not. But anyways, I think let me know in the comments whenever you watch this. Was I lucky or was I just good at pre-grading? I genuinely don't know. I heavily lean towards luck. I did pre-grade these, and I intend to continue to pre-grade these more harshly than I ever would in the future. I've long been conditioned to pre-grade for PSA, and again, hurt some people's feelings. That's not my intent. That's just the fact of the matter. It's easy to grade at PSA. I'm not talking WotC. I'm not talking your favorite low pop card that you haven't been able to grade in the past 2 decades. I'm talking ultra modern generally. I'm talking high print quality cards like these. It is very, very, very easy to pre-grade cards a 10 at PSA that have high 10 rates, that have high quality, fresh out of the pack, fresh out of the promo pack, whatever it may be. That's just a fact. I send my worst condition cards to PSA, and I get the highest 10 rate out of any company. Beckett, though, I can't put an exact time to it. And people ask, what do you look for? I don't understand that question. Like, what do you mean, what do you look for in a black label? If you look at all these black labels, I'm sure some of them slightly off center, white dot, print line, whatever it may be. I'm sure that there are things that slip through like there are at every grading card company. But when someone asks the question of how do you pre-grade a black label, what are you even talking about? Like, if there's an issue with the card, it's less likely to get a black label. If there's no noticeable issue when you look at a card for like 30, 40 seconds, it's more likely to get a black label. I mean, these people on the other end that are grading the cards, they're only humans. Like, I'm a human, you're a human, hopefully. I think some people way overthink things. It's like, look, if you see issues, if you have 100 of a card and 50 of them have just rough centering off the top, PSA will give 60-40. 60-40, they'll give a 10 as long as it has everything else in pretty good shape. I've seen cards even worse than 60-40. Again, I send my worst ones to PSA. I send my best ones to BGS. Second best ones to CGC. And I still get the highest 10 rates at PSA. So yeah, I feel like I'm just rambling on and on. I might end up having, there's my 7. So there's my 7. That's how hard I pre-grade, right? I pre-grade so hard that I graded a Beckett 7. So it's got to bend. It's got to bend on the corner. Did I do that? Did they do that? I have no idea. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. But yeah, it's I'm sure it's got a 6 subgrade for the surface, and that's why it's got the 7. But anyways, maybe I'll turn this into a really long video. Maybe once I'm done frantically going through these rambles, piling up these cards, maybe I will actually hit you with a spreadsheet and have a nice little conversation. Maybe in post-editing, which really isn't much of a thing on my channel, maybe I'll just fast forward through all these somehow. My computer, actually, I have a Windows computer, and it recently got some new program. What's it called? It recently got some new program for, it used to be just called Video Editor. And instead of Video Editor, now I have ClipChamp. So my video that just came out today, as I'm recording this, it's the 30th. My video that just came out today, I had to splice in talking about these booster boxes behind me at the end because I completely forgot to cover them in my Houston Collecticon inventory video. And ClipChamp was really nice. It was a lot better than Video Editor, I will say. It looked a lot more. I've watched some videos where on the screen people have like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Premiere, whatever it's called. And ClipChamp looked and felt a lot more like that. So maybe I'll be able to do a little bit more editing now that I'm a ClipChamp. But that's all the cards. So anyone who stuck around till the very end, I'm recording this a couple nights later. but I am here with the data. I rated 39 of the total Nagabas that I submitted. I can get a summation rate here, 194. So I submitted 194, 39 got black label, 61 got pristine 10, 89 got 9.5s, and only 5 got 9s. None got below BGS 9s. So overall, very, very happy. I mean, you can do the quick math. I was going to do actual calculations of EV and this and that. If you take a $500 black label and you literally discount every other card. I mean, on average, I paid, say, 20 bucks per Nagaba promo, and then say 20 bucks for grading. Say I paid 40 bucks a card for 200 cards. That's $8,000. Each black label, as of right now, is going for $500-ish dollars, with the Umbreons going for more. Clearly, it was a plus EV play. If the price is anywhere near hold, that's completely discounting all of the 10s, 9.5s, and 9s. There will be some amount of value there. Generally speaking, the black label's like a moonshot that doesn't exist anymore with CGC and doesn't exist at all at PSA. The 10 is slight profit, probably low liquidity, slow sales, but slight profit. 9.5s and 9s will be losses. But when the wins are big enough and common enough, it pans out. And I mentioned earlier in the video, could you please comment, do you think I was lucky? Or do you think I'm just good at pre-grading? I do have more subs out at BGS, both these and other cards. I will continue to dabble in the black labels as long as it continues to work out, as long as the market values it, as long as the opportunity is plus EV. That's what it's all about as a business at the end of the day. So, I mean, I do really like the product. I think you put some kind of a chase in there, whether manufactured, whether real or not, I don't really know. But let's look at the data. So I graded 20% black label rate. This is Beckett rate here. Sorry, I just need to slide over some. But yeah, this is Beckett rate here. So if you look at, I've basically searched Nagabas, all these. If you scroll to the side, you can see these are all the Nagabas, starting with EV on down. 8.3% black label rate. 9.2% black label, 7.6, 11.7. So single digits, high single digit average black label rate, and I've gotten more than double that. As I mentioned in my own video when I asked you to leave it in the comments, I think a large portion of this is luck. I don't think my future subs will replicate this. I have at least 25 more sets of Nagabas, so 250 plus cards, well, around 250 cards at BGS. So I will continue to get new data. I will share that as I get it. Probably more in live streams, probably less in separate videos. But yeah, I'll continue to share here and there in Discord and YouTube, as I always do. I'll share the BGS 7s like I got on the 001 SVP, the singular 001 SVP. I share the wins, I share the L's. That's what it's all about. But yeah, that is what Beckett grades at the highest grade that you can achieve is a black label, and it's single digit. So less than 1 out of 10 submitted get the black label. And as I mentioned, I send my best of the best to Beckett because they have the hardest grade to achieve. Sending the second best cards to CGC, you can see that pristines, perfects, unfortunately, are no longer a thing. If I slide over here, you can see that these are indeed the Nagabas. So from here on down are the Nagabas. Unfortunately, the perfects are no longer a thing. I am not tracking whatsoever. I don't have any. I'm not tracking whatsoever what the values of those are doing. But you can see 313 out of 627, 275 out of 520, very approximately a 50% pristine rate. And for anyone curious, I did go back and I did look through all of my Nagaba submissions, and I'm getting about a 67% pristine rate, whereas the broader market is getting a 50% pristine rate. So maybe there is a little bit of skill. Maybe the 10 to 15 seconds that I spend on each card to pre-grade them, about the same amount of time graders spend on them to grade them, I believe. Maybe that's sufficient. Maybe I know what I'm doing here. With these cards, there's not that much selection bias. There's the most selection, the most time goes into selecting what goes to BGS because I'm looking as closely as ever. And then the least amount of time, PSA, CGC, somewhere in the middle. PSA, I've talked about it before. I made the video that I will again link if I remember to. Nagabas, Umbreons, 9,300 out of 10,300 graded are PSA 10s. Nagabas, participation trophy. I mean, getting a PSA 10 of a Nagaba, and the market shows. I mean, the PSA 10 Umbreon Nagabas are $80 to $90. The Pristine 10s from CGC are $120-ish. And the Black Label 10s at Beckett are $1,000. Clearly, the market agrees, at least on this card. Who knows what Pokemon will do in the future? Who knows if they're doing pop control? Who knows if they're intentionally creating lower quality cards? But yeah, I think there was merit to the conversation that I tried to have in the participation trophy video, regardless of what certain people took it to mean and took it out of context. And yeah. This is the 001 SVP. So just to wrap it up, I did have quite a few 001 SVPs in that video. It looks like about 900 out of 5,700. So that's like one in, yeah, it's like 16. I guess I can just do it real quick. Sorry. 900 out of 5,700. Yeah, 15.7%. I knew I was close, but I wasn't right on there. So 15.7% for those. While I got about a 25% rate on mine, I had, sorry, I need to bring it on screen. I had 20 out of 86 for a total 23% rate. So I got 23% on about a 15% Black Label rate. I'm consistently getting a little bit higher, at least on these recent submissions. Overall, I've never paid too close of attention as long as the numbers make sense. Usually I only take this much care to put together extra effort and extra energy into getting data when I'm making a video. I do a lot more of it by feel these days, but I think it is interesting to drill into the data from time to time. Facts don't care about your feelings. So 90% 10 rates, participation trophies, at least for the Nagabas and other similar cards, very valid. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate you all watching. I will catch you all later.